Hello, ladies. Hope everyone is off to an amazing day. And if not, hopefully we can change that. So if you are here, let me know, say hello, and we will jump in. So today, it's interesting. I was thinking about this last week, okay, because what I do is I just kind of let things settle and then bubble up in terms of what I want to share, rather than like coming from my head and thinking, what do I want to create? What do I want to create? So I was working out last week and this idea came to me. And it's all around the process of going from thought, desire, idea, right? Like you get this idea that's come from within, and then going into, what path do we take towards our point of attraction to create our reality. So the process I want to take you through today is going through this process from thought to reality. And so I'm a real visual people, as most people are. If you guys are visual, let me know because I hope this will help you. So we're going to go through the process. And like I said, it came from an idea when I was working out. I'm like, oh, this is a great visual. And I think sometimes instead of just talking, we just go like ear to ear, right? There's some visual also. I've talked a lot with my hands, I know. But when we can actually see something and go, oh, I can see it now, and I'm hearing, like we're using more senses and it goes in. So here's what we're gonna do. Again, it's the process of going from thought to reality. I know it's not, let's see, can you see this? So I want you to make, hopefully you've got a full scap. And I just want you to make a big bubble here. I think you want to do it this way. Yeah, the big bubble should be on the left. Where am I? The left. And then as we're moving forward, as if you're reading a book, I don't know if we're reversed here, right? So the bubble's going to be on your left, and then the moving towards, if you're reading a book, towards the right are the two smaller bubbles. So not overly complicated. Again, it was just something that kind of came to my mind as I was working out. And I think this is a really great visual to give you as you go through this process with me. So what I want to do is this. So hopefully just give yourself yeah, totally visual. And most people are. So I'll give you a sec just to do those bubbles. And so the process is, so what you're going to do is write down in the big bubble here. I want you to write down thought or desire or idea, right? So something comes, right? That's the spark. So in this big bubble is the thought, idea, or desire. And so go ahead and write that down. And then as we go through the process, we're going to either go through either the path of least resistance or the path of more resistance or most resistance. So you can write that down too. So you can write path of least resistance and path of most resistance. And so the path of least resistance is the allowing, right? Yeah, Esther, the big bubble is going to be on the left. So it's like you're reading a book. So on the left is the big bubble where we start, and it's your thought, your desire, the idea, and as if you are reading a book, and then the arrows go to the right. So I don't know which way you're seeing this, if you're seeing it this way, but basically the big bubble is going to be on your left, and then the little bubbles on your right as you're moving forward, as if you're reading a book. So hopefully that makes sense. So you're going to, the big bubble, if you're just joining us, we're going from the thought. I'm giving you a visual of the process from thought to reality. So in the big bubble, we've got your thought, idea, desire. And then the two arrows are going to be the path of least resistance is the allowing, and the path of most resistance is called resistance, okay? And so if you remember the path of least resistance, if you remember, I did a Facebook Live on non-resistance. So we could call that allowing, or we could call it non-resistance, because that's ideally what we want to do, is we want to get into non-resistance. And I think that's a really good one to go back if you don't remember that one. The law of resistance is huge. When you master that, you get into more flow, more acceptance, more ease, more grace, and it becomes into your nervous system where things aren't, you don't have to work at it. It just becomes a way of life. Things just become more natural. Everything becomes allowing. So the next bubbles are going to be up here is going to be who you are. Who you are. And this is who you are not. Okay, if you're just joining us, we're going through a little flow chart that I just came to mind last week. This is our thought, desire, or idea, something where we go, it's a spark. Yes, I want to do that. And then we take two paths, one or the other, or a combination. And this is the top here is who you are and who you are not. And you could even put up here like the process, right? And this half, right, as we leave the desire, as we leave this bubble, we're going into our point of attraction. This is all your point of attraction. After we leave this bubble is your point of attraction. And so what I want you to write in that bubble of who you are, ask me any questions. Okay, good. Yeah, so in that bubble of who you are, who you are is this. So if you think about, oh, I have this idea, I want to have a friend over, and maybe a friend in your bubble, in your COVID bubble right now, and you want to have them over for lunch or something really simple, probably not a lot of resistance, right? So you have the idea. I'm using a simple example because if we're going to go into allowing, it's probably a simple one. So we have this idea, the spark, then we move into allowing, and then the who you are is, you've just created that, right? You are a powerful creator. There wasn't a lot of resistance. Easy peasy, right? So what happens with an example that is a little more, what I'll call bigger, right? That's something kind of we bump up against. It's like, whoa, we talked about vulnerability last week. It's like, whoa, that might be a little scary, right? Maybe a little more resistance. So what we end up doing is going to, we might end up bringing in a little bit of resistance in the bottom, right? So again, if you're joining us, the big bubble is our thought, our idea, our spark. And then we take either two paths, which I'm going through right now. So let's just say the path is something a little bit more like, what's a good example? Maybe you want to create more money. Maybe you want more clients. Maybe you want to do a presentation. Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to put yourself out there and be more vulnerable in a relationship you're already in. Maybe you want to create a new relationship. Maybe you want to write a book. Let's use that as an example. Let's say you want to write a book, okay? So there's your idea, there's your spark, there's your desire. I want to write a book. And so what happens if we take the top one, right? The top path, the path of least resistance, the path of flow, the path of allowing, right? We just don't block ourselves. The who we are is we are powerful creators, right? We're connecting to the truth of who we are, that we're whole, that we're complete, we're an extension of source, right? We're connected to our higher selves, knowing that it's just not me, myself, and I, that there's a higher intelligence that's working, co-creating with me. So we recognize that, and there's so much power in that. So that's the truth of who you are. That is who you are. So you can write those adjectives down if you want, right? Powerful, whole, complete, extension of source, naturally abundant, whole, right? We're recognizing that. When we recognize that, it's like we have a silent partner, so we can move in that flow of non-resistance, of allowing, right? The energy that you'd have in that bubble, right? The energy we would have in this bubble, the energy we would have is like, yes, we'd be open to ideas, we'd be surrendering, we'd be asking around like people in our physical reality, but we'd also be asking for guidance from above, right? Your higher self, whatever it is for you. So it's just totally different energy. We would work on matching the vibration. We've talked a lot about the vibration. That might be another one I could go into in more detail. Actually, I don't think I've done that one. Law of vibration would be a really great one to do. So the energy of moving in the path of least resistance is, connecting to and aligning to your higher self where there isn't a lot of resistance. So easier said than done. Now I just want to put the pause button on here because this is very big picture. We're talking about thoughts and ideas and your desires. We're talking about the path, law of non-resistance, or are we in allowing the truth of who you are? There's a really big concept. So I just want to let you know that I'm talking big picture here, and we can definitely break it down. But I wanted to give this cheat sheet so you can go away and actually use it to implement, because as you start implementing it, you get it into your nervous system where it doesn't have to, you don't have to work at it. Oh, I've got to, okay, yeah, I've got to remember, okay, I'm resisting right now. Eventually, as you practice, you make it a lifestyle, because this isn't a one-time thing. You're going to notice it becomes more natural, becomes embodied into who you are. So let's talk about the path of resistance. So if we're talking about this here, the bottom one, right? The bottom one is the path of resistance, right? So if the path of resistance is it's going to be well, it's going to be hard. And it's funny, I want to just pause on this note, because I've talked a lot. I've noticed the language in conversations with women, in my group coaching, in my programs, and some of my talks around the idea how, oh, that's hard, or that's a struggle. Oh, and it's our language, it's the energy we're putting out there. So it's just something to be aware of, because it seems like it's very programmed into us that life needs to be hard. Write this down. We're not meant to struggle. We're not meant to struggle. Life's not meant to be hard for us. Whether you call it God, source, creator, divinity, we weren't put here to struggle. And so it's not who we are. So that's what I want to talk about, is that this one here, down here, is who we are not, right? And who we are not is, we are not our blocks. We are not our excuses. We're not our beliefs. And again, we're kind of doing high level right now, but if you take any one of these and go, let's really dissect it, like just pause on belief for a moment. I could say, oh, we're not our blocks, we're not our excuses, we're not our stories, we're not our beliefs, and keep rambling. But let's just pause on one, like, we're not our beliefs. Whoa. If I really believe, if we're talking about a book, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, but if we're talking about, I want to write a book, right? So if we go, whoa, well, my belief is, well, will I really be supported? Do I even have the money? Would anybody read it? What would people think of me? Who's going to help me? I don't know how to write a book. I've never done that before. So maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I don't know enough. And so we bump up against these beliefs. Let's just say I don't know enough. Let's just use that as a belief. Like, just pause. And whenever we come up against that belief and we dissect it, is that really true? Like, do I really not know enough? Like, if I'm going to write my story, my life story, well, don't I know my story, right? Like, and isn't there always resources, right? And if we go back to what I shared before, is when we have a desire, when we have that desire, it means we're also within that desire. When we have that from within, it means that we also have the ability to achieve it. That'd be a really horrible joke that we were played on, right? Let's give you this inspiration, right, from within, and then go, I'm just kidding. You can't actually, you don't know how to do that, right? We do know. It's part, call it God, source, creator. We're never given those inspirations, those desires, those ideas, if we don't also have the ability to achieve it. So that's a bit of freedom right there. So back to the book idea. So if you wanted to write a book and you get this idea, right? And, because it might be big and it might be a little scarier, right? It's a bigger example. Are we taking that path of least resistance, the allowing? Are we taking the path of more resistance, right? Where who we are not are those blocks, excuses, stories, the challenges we say, right? Bumping up against hard, oh, that's hard. Well, if we believe it's hard, it's going to be hard. So those are things that we are not. That's not who we are, right? I wrote down here, the Human Doer. And I go through energy archetypes in one of my programs, and one of them is the Human Doer. And we do, go, and we're not being very much. And I'm not going to go into the whole archetype here, but it really is not who we are, right? We have forgotten to be, we've forgotten to be the human being that we are. We turn into human doers. So this is another example of who we are not. And so everyone's got their different programs, paradigms, beliefs. But what I want to urge you to do is just live with a little more awareness, right? Just a little more awareness, so that now what happens is you're going about your day and you go, okay, well, here I am, I've got this idea, this spark. Again, if it's something simple like going out with a girlfriend, you're probably not going to have a lot of resistance, right? The bigger it starts getting, oh, I'm going to write my book, I'm going to do a speech, I'm going to put my program out there, oh, I'm going to start a new business. We might bump up more against this. So this is an awesome, I love this because it's such a visual for me where I can go, okay, well, oh, this is, yeah, no problem here, but oh, this one's a bit bigger. I'm really putting myself out there. What am I bumping up against? So we can reframe it, right? So I'd love if, I'm doing a lot of talking here. I always love if we were in a room, I'm like, any questions? But yeah, pop any questions in if anything, something's coming up for you. Whether it might be around, challenge yourself right now. Like, what is the big thing that you bump up against that you might go, oh, right, this is not who I am. So again, the thought idea, right? Your desire, and then you take either one of the two paths, and you're never in one or the other. You're usually in, you do both, right? We're never 100% in one or 100% in the other. It's usually a combination, but the bigger and the more intimate our goal, our desire is, the more, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, that the more resistance we potentially have to bump up against. So living with more awareness. So let's talk about the point of attraction, because all this part is the point of attraction. So after we get that thought, that inspiration, that hit, that spark, we're like, oh yeah, and then we start putting it out there, and the point of attraction becomes what we start manifesting. So your point of attraction, if you're wondering what point of attraction is, let me back up. It's basically what you're thinking and feeling, right? If you want to know what your point of attraction is, look at your results. If you're like, okay, well, I don't know what my point of attraction is with money. Well, look at your bank account, look in your wallet, look at, your investments, look at where you live, look at all your money assets, right? That is what you're thinking and feeling. If you want to know what your relationships are like, look at your relationships. If you want to know what your point of attraction is with your health and what you're thinking and feeling, look at your results. They'll tell you what you're thinking and feeling, right? So if you don't like those results, so instead of waiting to get here, over here, your results, you can reverse engineer it. So you don't have to go, you don't wait till your results happen and go, well, I don't really like my results. You can catch them earlier, right? You can catch them earlier, right off the gate. Oh, I got this inspiration. Do I have resistance right away? So, if you recall a couple Facebook Lives ago, we talked about, I think it was during the law of cause and effect. We reversed engineer it, right? Your thoughts turn into feelings in the body. They give off vibration into the world, and they create your results. So if you reverse engineer this, again, rather than waiting for your results here, right, and go, whoa, I don't really like the way my bank account looks, or my relationships, or my business, right? Catch it earlier. Catch the train earlier. And so go back to your point of attraction. Your point of attraction is what your results are. So let me know if I'm making sense. Does this make sense? And who can see? Yeah, let me know if I'm making sense. And if you have any questions, put it in there. I'll see if I can. What do you do if you recognize what you're bumping up against? Change the feeling. Change the feeling and thoughts. Yes. So what do I do if I recognize what I'm bumping up against? So it depends on the circumstance to give you an exact answer. But if you notice you're not liking your results, let's just say in money's always an easy one. So if you recognize, well, I don't really like my results with money, it's like, okay, well, what are you can reverse engineer that, because here's your money results, right? It's done, right? Here's your point of attraction, what you're thinking and feeling. and here's the spark. So at some point you had an idea, again, Sandra, I don't know the exact situation, let's just call it money. But if you have a money idea, thought, spark, and then you're bumping up against a belief, well, am I worthy? Am I good enough? I don't know how to invest. What will people think if I got more money? Is it safe? Right? And so we've got to go back to the thinking. Usually it's in our thinking, and beliefs are just thoughts we repeat over and over, right? So go back to the thought. And this is a great question because it makes us turn off the autopilot, right? It makes us turn off the autopilot so we can just live with a little more awareness and go, huh, interesting. Make the connection. Money's not in my bank account. Clients aren't coming in. Health isn't where I want it to be. Like, what are the thoughts that if you reverse engineer it, right? And we touched on this a little bit, law of a cause and effect, but I like to come at it from a bit different angle. I mean, this is a different topic, but I do like to come at it from a different angle. I think this cheat sheet is a great visual to kind of catch yourself early in the stage. So Sandra, I hope that helped. I mean, I'm happy to chat if you give me yeah. So hopefully that helped. There was another point I was going to make about that. Can you see can you notice, everybody right now, can you notice when you might take that path of least resistance, right? And where you might take more of the path of more resistance? And let me know if you've noticed that, because I've just given you some awareness. Awesome, Sandra. I've just given you a bit of awareness where you're more aware now than you were 22 minutes ago, right? So you can't unknow it. It's like, what are you going to do now with it, right? So the other piece I wanted to mention was we're programmed to be safe. We're programmed to want to be safe. And it's a bit of a paradox, and you're probably already aware of this, but we are programmed to be safe. We want to be safe, and we think safe is staying where we are, staying in this bubble down below, right? Staying in the same place, the comfort zone. And so it feels like it serves us, but when we live with a little more awareness and we challenge those beliefs, we can choose differently, right? Yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. So I love to challenge you guys to, not challenge us to I want to challenge you. I want to invite you. Isn't that a better word? Doesn't that feel better? I want to invite you to fill this in and use it, right? You don't have to put this all over the place, but maybe even a smaller version, right? Again, so you can label it the process from thought to reality. So here's our thought or our idea or desire. And then do we take that path of least resistance? Again, that's also called non-resistant. That's the path of least resistance. That's flow, right? That's just saying, sure, yeah. It's like the idea of, I think I shared it with all of you a while back, like you wanted it to be a nice day and there's crappy weather out. Simple as that. Are you into oh no, what a horrible day. My whole week is ruined, right? Like there's resistance. And so it's just noticing where you have resistance. That's a very simple example, but back to the book idea or a presentation or starting a business where it's a bit bigger and scarier, where does that resistance come up, right? So this heading up here, the path of least resistance, this is who we are, right? We're powerful creators. We're meant to recognize our wholeness, connect to that bigger part of ourselves, right? Here's also where we can surrender and realize that we're co-creators and connect with universal energy, right? I've talked a little bit about universal laws, right? This is where this sits, right? Recognizing the truth, living with greater awareness, connecting to our higher source, spending time in meditation, journaling, matching our vibration of what we want. There's a lot of stuff I've already talked about is up here. And as we practice that, we start embedding it into our nervous system where it's not so much like, oh, I have to do the meditation. Oh, I have to do this vibration. It just starts becoming who we are. So it really is transformational when we start implementing it. And then down here is, again, the blocks we have. This is not who we are. The blocks, the lies we tell ourselves, the beliefs, the stories, right? Efforting, pushing hard, striving. We're not meant to live in struggle. So that's more the struggle. And again, it's not usually one or the other, but we do sort of a mix of it. So let me know, just say helpful in the chat if this was helpful. And if you have questions about this, because again, this is just, again, we could dissect a lot of this and do probably an hour live on like 4 or 5 segments on this. Don't worry, I won't be doing an hour live, but we could do an hour workshop, right? But you can see how this is high level, right? And there's a lot of moving pieces here. But I think for now, I want to invite you to use this as your little cheat sheet, fill it in, and watch yourself go through life, business, health, relationship, and use it as your awareness tool, right? And catch it early. Right? When you get that idea, that spark, it's funny how sometimes we get that spark and then the ego just kicks in and goes, just stay safe, just stay safe. So learn to live more connected to who you are, right? That's the name of the game, is living from this place, spending more time there. And I would love to hear feedback, insights as always. And I also had a question for you all. I'm glad that was helpful. Excellent. Yeah, awesome. So I had a question for you. 2 things. One is, in this example, is there an area that you'd like to deep dive into a little more? Maybe next Facebook Live or upcoming, depending on what it is. But would you like to go into that a little bit more? Because again, this is sort of big picture. And second, maybe I shouldn't throw too much at you, but is there, if there's topics in general that you want to learn about, I know some of you have sent me messages and I've incorporated them, but if there's something that you're kind of like, oh, I wish you would just talk about this, right? Please let me know, because I really want to, I don't want to make this a one-way street. I want to make this both ways. So keep me posted. Let me know whether it's right now, yes, I want to learn this, or something that pops up in the near future or whenever. Other than that, I hope this was helpful. Reach out, keep letting me know, and I'm going to, we'll probably revisit this at some point, because this is a powerful, powerful tool, but you need to use it, right? So have a wonderful day. Hope everyone is already off to a wonderful week, and we will see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.